Welcome to the Comic Book Review Show. We take comic books from the past week, recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out.
This is true.
I'm recovering from oral surgery, so I might be trying to take it easy a little bit in terms of talking, but we'll see.
Yeah, and,
it's impossible
and it
for
won't
me.
be a super long show.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Oh, come on. I'm going to try really hard.
Okay. Normally we are sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching the show live, you can sponsor today's show by using super chats. Ask a question or comment. We'll read it here on the show. And of course, as always, make sure to check out everything that we do in the description below the video. There's links to everything. Check out Tiffany on Tuesdays and Wednesdays playing Spider-Man 2 right now. So check that out. Actually, over on youtube.com/@ComicPop Plays. There's nothing else I can do about that. It's classic Comic Pop tradition of the rules don't apply. So you can't write /ComicPop Plays. It has to be /@ComicPop Plays. It's great. So let's talk about some. Also, it's the news and reviews hour. We also talk about news in the comic book world.
What do you got?
I got not much.
Cool.
I'm gonna tell you.
All right.
There's a lot happening, but not much for me to report on.
Okay.
Yeah, there was something, but I don't remember what it was anymore. So whatever.
All right. I'm fine with not having news today.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, so I read Green Arrow #5 from Joshua Williamson, Steven Isaacs, and with special guest penciler Phil Hester. This is a continuation of the Green Arrow series in which Ollie Queen has been removed from the Arrow family and set on his own kind of quest. This issue features him teaming up with Old Man Ollie and the horrible secret behind why the entire Arrow family has never actually been in one place at one time. Or
it's because there isn't one. They're all just ghosts.
No, most of the people in this book are robots, but yeah, it's just there is a terrible secret that prevents the Arrow family. There's like a in continuity reason why the Arrow family can never be happy and together. And so we see.
Is it drugs?
Like I said, it hasn't been revealed yet. But this issue gets us closer to that answer. We see Ollie tumbling through time, and in one spectacular sequence, he ends up in the Kevin Smith era, which is drawn by Phil Hester, and we see him team up with himself. It's really fun. This is very much a love letter to Green Arrow, but also to Green Arrow family fans. So if you love Green Arrow, in a big, foundational way, and you especially love the Arrow family, you should be reading this book. This book should be on your pre-order list. I imagine it probably won't last more than 12 issues anyway, so I mean, it doesn't really much affect your bottom line if you're going to buy Green Arrow books month to month. So definitely put it on your pre-order list if you're interested in Green Arrow.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a fun book, and of course, the voice for Green Arrow is great. And so forth.
I like the cover for this. It really harkens back to not necessarily the Kevin Smith time period, because those had a very distinct style, but it makes you think of, a little nostalgia factor there.
Absolutely. No, those were spectacular covers by Matt Wagner that are mostly all sold at the big Kevin Smith garage sale. I mean, auction. And sad to see them go. But I'm glad at least some fans got them. Hopefully they did. I never know. I always assume if a big auction like that happens, or a big concert takes place, that the wrong people get them. Some scalper gets all the tickets.
Oh, sure.
Jackass gets all the art. I know that certain artists did not get the art they wanted.
Their art?
Their art back.
Their own art?
Like Phil Hester, who really wanted some of his pieces back.
That's such a shame.
And just didn't. Wasn't fair. But you know what? Everybody's got to make a buck, so what are you going to do?
That's what it is, I guess.
Exactly. What are you reading, Tiffany?
What am I reading? To keep this
or
trim...
Loki?
What? Only if you vote for me. To keep this trim, I didn't go
too deep into the X-Men
this week, so we're only going to cover a few X-Men titles.
Yeah.
For example, let's chat about Dark X-Men.
Okay.
Is this what you were referring to in the title of this issue?
This
episode?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, that's really funny, because she's talking about return of the worst character.
Yeah, that was Spider-Man.
That's okay. So, well, we're talking about Dark X-Men.
Oh yeah, I guess does Rec Rap show up in this book too?
No.
Okay. Oh, it's Chasm. Chasm
why
shows
don't
up
you
in
let me freaking tell the story?
Well, I'd heard rumors about Chasm's return.
Man, this is why you're not on the couch when I'm telling a story, because you just take my thunder. You just steal it. I'm building up building something up, and just
Oh, was that what you were doing?
No, not really.
Okay.
This is written by Steve Fox with art by Jonas Scharf.
I've never heard of them.
Scarf. My brain doesn't know how to make an
I'd say Scharf.
SCH sound. Apparently,
I would guess Scharf.
You know, I kind of dig this book. It's not quite Hellions, but it's not that. It has like a darker tone to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, it's like a bunch of misfits who are trying to fit together in order to do the best that they can, while Madeline Pryor's kind of like, okay, this is my chance to have an X-Men team. So naturally it's like dysfunctional.
Well, like also she's like, I'm not gonna be in X-Men when Tom Brevoort takes over, so why not use me as much as you can?
Yeah, why not? Hey, it's me. Hi.
I'm in this book for a minute.
This book for a minute, for sure. No,
until they forget
her
about
team.
me.
Like, this is totally her team. She's actually in 2 books this week for me.
She is, yeah.
You know, like she took some of her team. Gambit had some of his team. Angel had been killed and was taken. And he returned at the end of the last issue. Gambit's team has kind of been folded into Madeline's X-Men, as they're all sticking to the embassy that she has, because technically the Limbo Embassy, they really can't do anything about it.
No, they can't.
They're like, what are we gonna do with this? Like, we can't conquer them.
Right.
Even though we said no mutants could be here anymore, because they're technically, you know, got diplomatic immunity. So her area is technically a safe place for now.
It's kind of fun.
They decide that they're going to try to go out and collect some other mutants. They split up the team. They split the party. We have Carmen, or Faint, from the original, not original, but like the earlier Children of the Atom during the Krakoa time period. Remember the kids who were like, we're totally X-Men, we're totally mutants, but it's not working. But then it turned out one of them actually was a mutant. So she's here. They're like, don't forget. And like, they're doing a nice job with her, honestly.
That's
nice.
Know,
she acts as like this team's Jubilee, Kitty Pryde, whatever allegory you want from whatever point in time.
Young ride-along female character for the X-Men.
Bingo.
She's that.
Yeah.
For this.
So, you know, Gambit and some other folks like, do you prefer, I think I asked you this last time, do you prefer Azazel?
Oh, Azazel. They say it in the movie Azazel, so I just pronounce it that way. You know, that they employ dialect coaches and other people like that. Sometimes they say symbiotes, and sometimes they say Raz Al Ghul, but occasionally I'll take Azazel.
Okay, fair. But folks like you know, like Azazel and or Zazel, Azazel, Zazzle.
Who could bother to care?
Razzle Dazzle. The Raz Dazzler.
The Raz Dazzler. That's what his name is.
Who it is.
I think I'm gonna go with that.
No. Maggot and others go to try to collect Callisto and her Morlocks.
Okay,
on
great.
A boat, and they're on a boat. But they were attacked by Angel at the end of the last issue, and we need to deal with that because he's like not right. I mean, he's clearly been resurrected, and like in like a way where he's like more zombie than
than 5.
Then, like, yeah. And so he attacks the team. Azazel won't help. He's like, nah, I'm good. You all got this.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you're gonna help me. Like Gambit's like, you're gonna help me, and he like gives him a really hard time. It's kind of nice, you know. Like I was concerned with, you know, when they had that Rogue and Gambit book going on, I was like, why are they not together in this next book? Are they're gonna break up? No, it's just that Rogue is doing something else right now, and Gambit's helping out where he can, and I appreciate it because it's putting Gambit in a place of like trying to be a leader. And
yes,
you know,
which is rare.
Gambit on his own to be a leader, you'd be like, holy crap, that's like not a great idea,
right?
Like it could be a good idea, but you know, only until like something challenging or difficult or sad happened. Like they would have fun and they would do jobs and they would be very competent, but like when like something bad happened, it would be really hard, you know, and like you'd probably see Gambit wanting to quit it, right?
Sure.
But he's thrown into the situation where you also have Madeline Pryor in charge of something.
Yeah.
So then you're kind of like, well, they both, maybe they kind of complement.
Yeah. It's two people who have something to prove. Yeah.
Right. And like they both have different skill sets, I suppose.
Right.
But he gets bamped on top of Angel and he grabs him. He's like, "Hey, are you in there, Warren? I'm really sorry about this, man." And he just grabs his wings and he charges them up. He just
blows them up.
He destroys him.
Oh,
like he just is gone.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Callisto and the other folks are like, "We're not joining you.
Right.
You had your mind. We weren't even a target.
Yeah.
Until you showed up.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, are you kidding me? We were fine. And you all just hello,
Right.
and then we were attacked. So no, they don't do that. Maddie and her crew of Havoc, who has also been recently resurrected, thanks to Maddie, so he's a little worse for wear. And I don't remember who else is with them. Oh yeah, it's the Zero Albert hybrid. They had a Wolverine.
Yes.
And
Okay.
they,
The robot. Yeah.
And they're going after a mutant who has power over plants.
Okay.
And she has, she tried the Krakoa thing, didn't really work out. She's, tried to work with, other teams before, just always kind of feels on the outside.
Yeah.
And she's kind of collected a bunch of other mutants and has them in like this safe zone. I'm getting like serious Poison Ivy vibes.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But very different.
Sure. Well, yeah, it's Marvel.
Yeah, it's Marvel. She attacks them and puts them to sleep, but Carmen manages to use her powers to create a mask for herself. She's like, I don't know if this is gonna work. Okay, cool, it did. The other three are down and they're in like their nightmares, and Maddie's like, cool, I just did all this, so it's fine. I just have to figure out how to get out of here.
Okay.
And they manage to free themselves, but Carmen, chats with her. She her name is Marisol.
Okay.
Her name is Flourish, or her code name, but often known as Creep by others who were like, give her a hard time.
Sure.
And they have a heart to heart where she's just like, I am the ride along character, and I am different from them, and listen, they're trying the best that they can, and they want to help.
Yeah.
And that's when the like Nightcrawler dragony thing from Secret Wars pops in,
right,
attacks them, they fend it off, and then Marisol's like, I'm not going with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't a target until, so both teams are finding that they're causing more harm than good,
right?
But there is an issue here. Like obviously Orcus has this other Secret Wars Madeline Pryor and Nightcrawler dragon, and eventually they are going to attack these other mutants. They'll
get there eventually, yeah.
And that's what they say to them, and they're like, we'll take our chances.
Right.
Then with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool. I'm already feeling shades of like the post-Krakoa era. Like this feels like in another like 6 or 8 months, that'll be what X-Men is.
Yeah.
Like they go to find people and they're like, remember when we were all living together on the island? And it's like, no.
Right?
No, I don't. I never liked it in the first place.
But needless to say, Orcus isn't thrilled with the lack of results from either move here with like Angel and with this Nightcrawler dragon thing,
yeah.
Right? Demon, dragon, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So they're like talking to this other Madeline Pryor, and she's like, oh, don't worry, I think it's time to bring out another fun character to show off.
Yeah,
on the last page. And it's just Chasm, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Right, he was on the cover of the last 3 issues, so yeah.
No,
Chasm, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you meant M-Plate. And I was like, oh, Jesus.
No, M-Plate
is it just in the book? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh boy.
It's Chasm.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll just do away with them.
It's interesting. Apropos of the Chasm reveal that I spoiled earlier was the conversation that's been going on between the creators on this book and Zeb Wells, of course, infamous, progenitor of Chasm.
Yes.
There was a discussion internally at the X office where they're like, hey, I kind of want to use Chasm. I think it'd be kind of fun to use him for this. I've got a use for him.
Because he's tied. You tied him intrinsically to Madeline Pryor.
Exactly.
Now. And if we're doing a book that's featuring her, he could show up easily.
Exactly. But there was kind of like this courtesy that they extended where they're like, hey, listen, but if the Spider offices are planning anything with Chasm, and I believe it was either Nick Lowe or Zeb Wells who said something and you can check my facts. So there's an interview that I found recently, and it was posted in the last 3 days. But in which one of the head members of the Spider offices, and it could be the editor, it could be the writer, I couldn't remember which one, said something to the effect of, we have no plans on using Ben Reilly ever again.
What?
So like, knock yourself out. Like, you can do whatever you want with Chasm. We're never going to do anything with Ben Reilly. Like, Ben Reilly is going to be on a shelf until someone has a pitch for Ben Reilly that we can make money off of. But like, internally, neither people in charge of Spider-Man have any interest or plans for Ben Reilly. That's why he was made into Chasm, because we didn't want him just floating around as like a Spider character that someone could use.
If you were going to do that, why didn't you just leave him on the shelf?
Because we're Marvel, and we
why break it?
That's what Marvel does best. Like, Marvel knows, and I think it's just I think it's policy at this point. It's just like, it's better if you're angry than bored. Like, it doesn't matter if Ben Reilly is like, if Ben Reilly is crappy or broken, then you'll keep buying it because maybe he'll get fixed. Like, you'll buy it until he gets fixed. But if he gets fixed, you'll never buy it again. It's a great jumping off point for you if you ever feel satisfied with a story. So it's just, yeah. But anyway, that's why Chasm's in this. They're like, oh, cool. Well, then we're just gonna do whatever the hell we want. Like, Chasm's an X-Men character now.
Well,
Like, he's just gonna be used until the book is
maybe
canceled.
that's for the best. Maybe what they'll do is they will fix it.
Oh, sure. The only problem is that, like, they don't have as much power as the Spider Office, so, like, anything they do will be undone or forgotten or ignored by the Spider Offices, in case anybody has an idea for Chasm.
Well, I mean, here's
but
the
at
thing.
least, but you know,
if they do, the Ben Reilly fans maybe can have a little bit of time where, like, hey, look, we fixed Ben.
Exactly. Like, I think Ben was in a Spider-Man book for a long time, or in an Iron Man book for a while. You know, like, or maybe it was Kane. Either way, there was a neglected Spider character who was in someone else's book. And again, the Spider Office has just completely forgot about that and then did whatever they wanted with him afterwards. So, like, you could have some fun with him, enjoy. I mean, honestly, there was a fun idea where, like, in Civil War, Iron Man designed Spider-Man that outfit.
Yeah.
After Spidey, like, ditches it and joins Captain America, Iron Man has all these Spider-Man suits that he made.
Right.
So he, like, sells, or he enlists characters to become, like, the Spider-Man of the like, pro registration side. It's been a while since I've read it, but there was a great opportunity there where, like, I think they were Bolt as well, but it was like a trio of characters, and they all have, like, imaging, like, holograms on their faces, and they all look like Peter Parker. So it was an in continuity way to set up that, like, maybe the Peter Parker is the default face of all the Spider characters who've worked for the Avengers, and so it makes you think, like, oh, well, is Peter Parker really Spider-Man, or do they just accidentally pick Peter Parker?
Okay.
So it's a great opportunity in story to kind of undo the reveal without having to, like, resort to the devil.
Right.
But then, like, a week later, they did Mephisto, and so it was like, oh, well, that's too bad. So anyway, just, you know, there other books always have fun ideas to do something with a Spider character.
Sure. I mean, listen. Oops. Maybe Maddie will be like, I really messed you up, man.
Oh yeah, I'll give you your memories back.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Let me fix this for you, honey.
Yeah. The only problem is people who are in charge, who kill characters or ruin them or hurt them and do it because, like, they have, like, some kind of agenda. You know, like, if they undo all the damage that, like, the Spider Offices do to Ben Reilly, you know, they could take that personally. You know, the Spider Office could be like, oh, you're doing that was like a power move. Like, you insulted me.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I guess
there's inter-office politics, regardless of what that office is producing.
Sure.
Whether it's widgets, paper clips, or comic books. Cat Lawyer Fun for Treats says, loved last week's back issues, but finding out that story that it was your second choice made me pick up The Depth. Also, Namor 2003. Wish you could do that one. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. I mean, yeah. I mean,
literally, The Depth was like,
it was right there.
If we
just didn't have it.
If we had gotten it in beforehand.
Yeah, it arrived the day we were shooting. So, yeah.
So, unfortunately, we couldn't bank on it.
Exactly. Bryce Harriet. Hi, guys. I gave away my comics at my church's trunk or treat, and it went great.
Nice.
I was woefully understocked and ran out. That's great. I need recommendations of books for young readers to start buying over the year.
Oh my God. I love that idea.
Bryce, I think that's a fantastic idea. Here's what you need to do. Okay. You need to contact Diamond Distribution, and you need to tell them that's what you're doing, and they will send you free comic book day books that were originally themed for Halloween. They've been doing it for years. I don't know if they do them anymore, but, like, they could theoretically send you stock of unsold or undistributed free comic book day books. It's a way to go. You can be like, listen, I want to give away free comic books. I know that one of our friends of the show did that recently. He wanted some books, and he reached out to publishers. You could also reach out to publishers directly and say, I want to, you know, I work for my church. I do this youth thing. I'd like to give away comic books for free. I need, you know, age appropriate books, and contact all of them. You know, Dark Horse has the Avatar, The Last Airbender license. IDW, I'm sure, be happy to play ball. You never know. Marvel might answer the phone. I mean, if they can afford to have one. And, you know, DC obviously has a number of young adult books. Who knows if anybody will pick up over there either. But, you know, I know your friends in the indie space or in the smaller press space would be more than happy to oblige. But in the meantime, if you want to buy books in bulk, you can always do so in dollar bins, 50-cent bins. What I would do is I would just go into, like, 50-cent or dollar bins, go back to, like, Marvel Comics, like, pre-1989, and just buy any of them. Just give them away. You know, here's X-Men 197. Here's Spider-Man, you know, 258. Like, all these books are already age appropriate because they had to adhere to a stupid governing body called the Comics Code Authority. So, like,
but there are also some newer things.
Oh, absolutely. But the older stuff, that's where it's like, we're like the tobacco industry. We got to hook them while they're young. You got to get them this like thing. They got to get them.
Don't put it like that.
Congratulations, by the way. Great idea. Lotaro Medina. Hi, Sound Tiffany. Hello. Did you see the announcement that Ram V and Dan Waters are making some new sci-fi noir universe at Image? They showed the covers for the One Hand and the Six Fingers, and they look amazing.
I did hear that. Yeah, I like this combo of these two. It's interesting.
It is interesting, and of course was showcased a little bit in Detective Comics 1075 because Dan Waters did write the backup story, which was the reason why I was like, Tiffany, oh my God, you got to take a look at this. Like, because normally I've been kind of off the Detective Comics train. It's written normally by Ram V. This time in this issue, it was written or drawn by Francesco Francavilla, and of course the backup was by Dan Waters and one of your favorite recent artists.
Yes,
Aaron Campbell.
Yeah.
This is part 2 of a 2-part or a multi-part story, but of course is also a part of the ongoing saga.
This cover's incredible. I know the covers have all been incredible.
Every cover for this series since it launched has been just spectacular. But this one did stand out. And it was also, I saw it on a lot of lists. I saw it on a lot of discussion boards. So I was like, oh, like it piqued my interest. And I was like, maybe I should go back. Of course, Francavilla drawing the interiors for the main story does not hurt one bit.
Right.
But I will say that Ram V's writing is, as always, undisputedly good. And
I know you're just not a big Supernatural fan when it comes to
I'm not,
Batman.
but
like, I know that this is not your cup of tea.
It is not, even though it is directly linked with Barbatos. Barbatos is like this looming threat that's been connected directly to the series. But also there's like this external threat, new characters, new bad guys who technically are the real stewards of Gotham. Like, okay, like another surprise. Oh, and you just have all these new surprise old characters just elbowing their way through I'm sorry, excuse me, a Court of Owls. I was also here too. But in any event, it's still well written and it's really cool. And just try not to think about all the history and just enjoy the ride. But this issue in particular was really fun, really good characters, nice intrigue, and makes the external threat a lot more formidable. And the Francavilla art really like sells it because, of course, this is the day before Halloween, and so if you're looking for a spooky book that's in continuity that happened over the last week, I would definitely recommend Detective 1075. If not for the second part of a start of a new arc that just started last in 1074, but also for the backup story, which is not really so much a story as it is like an exhibition
but it definitely ties in.
It does tie in. It ties in directly, but it also is like you could read it in a vacuum. You could have it be its own thing. And that was like that was the thing I guess people were really talking about. Even though when I picked it up, I was like, oh well, I'm going to read it all, and I did, and I was like, oh, that was a reward. Ram V's writing was great. And paired with Francavilla, that was great. No complaints whatsoever, and it was a lot less. It dragged certainly a lot less than it had in the past. Like I've accused this book of being one of the most like well written, like well plotted, most boring Batman books I've ever read, and this issue flew in the face of that. So I'm happy to report.
Like a bat.
Oh, but also then there's the Dan Waters story, which I was like, Dan Waters, wow. And it's just great. It's just a little story about Bruce. And it's not really about Bruce. It is, but it's like, Barbatos being like, hey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's it's a little, look back at Bruce's start and all of that.
Exactly.
But for me, it was the most exciting thing is when he told me this, I opened it up and I'm like, I've seen this work before.
Yes. Even though you've never picked up this issue before.
I have seen this work because this, like in a couple of shows ago.
Yeah.
I was talking about the importance of going to artist booths and like see if they have like work there or their original work and flipping through it. And this is literally the pages I was talking to Aaron Campbell about. The pages that are in this issue, he had them right there.
Yes, we could have bought them.
Yeah.
For hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't remember how much they were.
I think they were quite pricey, which is fair. Totally fair.
Worth it.
Because it was incredible to see them now digitally colored and
finished.
But like the fact is, it's like all like most of that work that you see in Aaron Campbell's pages.
Yeah,
it's all there.
Yes,
like the colorist is bringing something to the party, but it's not a whole lot this time around. Aaron handles all of his own inking. It's a multi-step process. It starts off with like, using bleach and like toning paper himself, and then like doing some work here, and then he puts it in digitally, and then he like does some other things, and he prints it out, and then he works some more on it. So it's like this multi-step process, and then he sends that work off.
Yeah.
And these were the pages that when like you see those beautiful like light bleeds, those big like, when Barbatos is in the book, these like beautiful diffused like dreamlike sort of like, they're not quite ethereal because Barbatos is definitely not that.
Yes.
But that sort of look that then he got some of the art back, the colors originally took all of that away. There were all these hard edges on it. And he was like, no.
Yeah.
He was like, this is not the right
fit
look for this.
Exactly.
And they sent them back, and that's why it looks so good, is because the colors went back in and just toned the work instead.
Yeah. And it works so well.
It looks so good, but I was like, I can't believe I've seen this.
I know.
I read it wordlessly.
Yeah. And it looks, it reminded me very much, not just the Dan Waters effect, but also just like the tone and the fact that it was in this very like modern version of an old school approach that like made me think of like an older Batman book. I was like, this is what Batman should feel like all the time. And I know that it wouldn't sell, but it's still great.
No, it was good. And it's like, and I'm sure for a lot of folks, it's just nice to see Alfred being Alfred.
Yeah.
Alfreding.
Yeah. I also read Green Lantern, Alan Scott Green Lantern #1 from Tim Sheridan and Cian Tormey. I heard a lot of hullabaloo about this, and I was like, I've never given Alan Scott his shot. I've never given him a fair shake, so why don't I take a look at it?
Sure.
It was very well written, very well drawn. It looks great, very modern, despite the fact that it's like a very old feeling character. Also, it's set in the past. It's mostly about Alan Scott's like fledgling career, about his debut on the JSA, about the strong arming from the government, about him being like, yeah, you're a lone superhero. We really don't like that. Also, like, you're a soldier who's hiding the fact that you are a homosexual. So like, we really don't like that. But Herbert Hoover has his own skeleton. So he's kind of like, I mean, look, or agree to, a mutually assured destruction. All right. But yeah, it's the most character I've seen Alan Scott have in a long time, outside of like, him interacting with other Green Lanterns. Good book, well written, and again, like, it was a really fun, like, kind of love story in its own way. Kind of like, not that it fell apart, but it became less about that and more about the greater story that the series promises to deliver on. But also, I think it keys into what Jeff Johns was setting up with his like new Golden Age Red Lantern, which I was like, oh, other people are playing with that. Good for you.
Okay.
I didn't read that JSA book from Johns, but I did leaf through it the other day because I was like, wait a minute, what's that all? What's up with Helena Wayne? And so, yeah, it has nothing to do with Tom King's Helena Wayne, but anyway. But yeah, man, good stuff. If you're looking for like a totally different Green Lantern book and like a kind of like classic old school, turn of the century kind of book, I would definitely recommend it. I think it's really well written. Speaking of turn of the century books, of course, Captain America #2 from Straczynski, from the creator of Babylon 5.
Yeah,
with art by you're familiar.
I am. I've heard of him.
With art by Jesus Saiz. This cover promises a lot. I know I was really excited about it because I remember.
Does it deliver?
Spider-Man and Captain America do technically team up in this book.
Okay.
And not like in a Garth Ennis way where Spider-Man gets knocked unconscious and then Punisher uses him like a cudgel against the villain and says we got to team up. Like, this is a genuine, actually, like, two characters mutually agree to do something together in costume. I remember reading that JMS was like, really, like, I made my bones on Spider-Man. I should, I'm back at Marvel. I'm going to throw a bone to Spider-Man. And it's very minuscule and silly. It has nothing to do with the main story, which is, of course, about Nazis in America. And no, not the ones that live among us today, but rather the ones that sought to undermine our democracy back during wartime in the 40s. And yeah, it's just prescient and contemporary while also being a throwback. The Saiz art, of course, I loved during the Punisher run. I enjoy it now. It's a great book. Spider-Man stuff notwithstanding, the Spider-Man stuff was not coming home. It was not like, oh man, I'm back. Actually, Spider-Man comes off as kind of annoying in this book. So it's a little bit of a disappointment if I'm really being honest. But like, it doesn't detract from the book, and I'm fine with it. I feel like, some of these writers, man, they're always afraid of like, it's what I was expecting Dan Slott to do when he took over Fantastic Four, because like Spider-Man should be a member of the Fantastic Four before he ever became an Avenger. Like, everyone's like, oh, Spider-Man the Avenger. No, he's a member of the Fantastic Four. He's a Richards, all right, before he's ever an Avenger. That being said, I was worried that when Dan Slott had done 10 years on Spider-Man, that when he took over Fantastic Four, he was going to be like, and I need to show that I'm not just secretly doing a backdoor Spider-Man book in a Fantastic Four book. I'm going to make Spider-Man look even worse. Almost like I'm trying to downplay him, to make way or room for, the naysayers who are going to say that I'm just secretly trying to write for Spider-Man. He didn't do that, but I was worried that was going to happen.
Right.
That's definitely what it feels like in this, where he's like, you all just want me to take over Spider-Man again. So how about he's a dumbass? And it's like, all right. I know that he wouldn't be if you wrote him again, which you definitely should have.
Okay.
And I'm still waiting out for your pitch. You said if the sales for Amazing Spider-Man dipped, that they would ask JMS to come back and take over. And I
did say that.
Not that I think that's going to happen, but I wish it did. And I'm definitely
that.
on that page. Please do that. Just do it now. Just do it now. I know that the book is selling great, despite the fact that it's just awful. But just do it now. Hulkzilla, been watching your videos a lot as of late, and it's always fun to watch and listen to. Happy Halloween to the Comic Pop crew. Thank you, Hulkzilla.
Happy Halloween to you as
well.
Yeah,
Tiffany went all out. I myself dressed like a man-child.
You didn't?
It's just my Sal costume, which is essentially just if you got it in a plastic bag at Spirit Halloween, it'd say man-child.
No.
Comes with podcast. Action figures in bin.
I'm on that podcast too, and I'm dressed like Loki. So
well, I guess I can't argue with that. And the Fodder Box Kid, hope all is good. Recently finished Donny Cates' Thor run, and I'm so sad to see how that series ended up, but glad to hear he's getting better now. Yeah, let's hope. And we all wish him the best. I genuinely hope that not only is he recovering from his troubles, which was a while ago, but also, that he's just doing okay. We haven't, we haven't seen him in a while, and we haven't heard from him. So we hope that, he's getting the best care he can. Carl Maxey, do you guys think people are too hung up on a variant of Kang getting defeated by ants? Clearly, there are many versions of Kang, and some are weaker. This is a reference to, of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. No, I don't think that anyone who would complain that a character is defeated by ants in an Ant-Man movie, chill out. That movie had a lot of problems. The least of which was that Ant-Man defeated his villain with ants. It's just a real shame that that movie is what it is, because it's real bad, and it didn't help because there was a slew of really boring, terrible shows, and then people were like, "I'll go to the movies," and then it was like, "Oh, that really sucked." Despite all the people with charisma and all the money thrown at this movie. But no, I mean, if anybody's really complaining about Kang being defeated by ants, they need to reassess their priorities, because it's it's an Ant-Man movie, for God's sake. If ants defeated Loki in Avengers 1, I'd be like, what? That'd be weird. I'd complain about that, because it would just make any sense. But anyway, we read a bunch of other things. I know you read Dark Spaces Dungeon.
Yeah, I did.
Do you want to talk about that for a second? Just to kind of give it a shout.
Might, give a little, because I mentioned that last week. So I hope we all did your reading.
Yeah, and I did not read TMNT Stranger Things, the finale yet. So I, as far as the two IDW books that we're going to talk about this week,
I read this a month ago.
You did. That's why I was like, oh, you'll remember.
So let's give me a little wiggle room on this one. Dark Spaces Dungeon, number 1, was an IDW book written by Scott Snyder with art by Hayden Sherman. If you were looking for something spooky this past week, so last week, or even for this week, you definitely should have picked this up. Fans of Scott Snyder's Witches run, for its tone, probably gonna like this.
Yeah,
it's dark, it's creepy, it doesn't pull punches,
cool,
but it's not supernatural.
Good. Yeah,
for me, I was kind of like, ooh, am I gonna like this? Right?
Yeah.
I like me some supernatural. I want there to be ghosts and demons and witches and werewolves.
Yeah. No, yeah, of course.
And
who doesn't want that, especially right now?
Right.
But
especially when you're in the Matrix.
Yeah.
They're real,
Ghosts and vampires and werewolves are real.
But I was like, you know what? I want to give it a shot. Some of Scott's other horror hasn't really hit me the same way.
Yes.
And this, I started reading. By the end of it, I was like, this is it. This is what
special.
I was looking for.
Yeah.
This is exactly the tone I wanted. And even though there's none of that supernatural part, for me, I really, really enjoyed this quite a bit. It focuses on a serial killer who has a very distinct way in which he kills people. And
Naturally.
I will admit there is like a little bit where you have to kind of, take your mind and try to not think too much about how does this work.
Right.
Hopefully Scott will explain it to us.
He
usually does.
He's an accomplished writer.
He does.
I'm sure he'll
usually,
do it.
Usually does. But the idea is that there are these these dungeons, these like capsules in a way, all across. I can't remember if it's America or the world.
Okay.
And there's someone who puts you in there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the dungeon itself is made out of these looks like these little blocks, these cubes, and they can push out and keep you from moving or crush you.
Okay.
And the person who is doing this to their victims,
yes,
will keep you alive for as long as they want to play with you, essentially.
Yeah.
And one person got out.
Oh.
They figured out how to keep themselves from being completely immobilized, and then was able to get out.
Yeah.
And because of that person ended up being more involved with this. But then we flash forward to the current times. There's a guy who lives with his family, in one of those big,
yes, one of those modular homes.
Modular homes out in the woods that you look at it and you're like, wow, that's amazing. And then literally, if you think about it, every sort of show about rich people or what have you, there's always a house like this and it always looks spectacular. But also so many horror-based things happen in that type of house that I'm just I don't know how to feel about them anymore.
Yeah, you're I
during
love
the
them.
daytime I'm like, yay, and then at night it's can we go literally anywhere else?
Because the windows are floor to ceiling 12 feet, by 10 feet, and they're and it's just out into open woods.
Right. It turns
no
out
thanks.
I don't want to stare into the darkness.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to blink.
No thanks. Even though most of them are probably just raccoons.
Right. And that's fine. Raccoons are cute. But this dude is out for a jog and he trips over something and he finds this lid, and it turns out it's one of the dungeons.
Oh no.
And there's a message on it that essentially says don't call this in.
Right. They do.
And he does.
Yeah.
And it's this story about doing the right thing and then presumably being punished for it.
Right. Oh no.
Because now this person's put a target on themselves, and it's a race against time. And I really there's a lot going on here where it's being you yourself being taken from your home and put in this place. You wake up, you have no idea where you are or how to exit it.
Yeah.
Someone has kept you there. You don't know how they found you. You don't know if you'll ever be able to leave. I'm like, that's great. And it's also just a guy. It's just a guy. There's no supernatural element to it.
Yeah.
But then the idea of, you want to do the right thing, or most people do.
Yeah.
And so you do the right thing,
and you're punished for it.
Now you're punished for it. Yeah. I'm like, I like
messed
this.
Up.
So again, go check out Dungeon. I'm not doing it enough of a service here, but the art's great. It's gritty looking. It fits the world. It's grounded. But yeah, I like this one a lot, and I can't wait for issue 2.
Nice.
Which I now have to wait another. I had to wait 2 months technically. So
I know, right?
I read it. Now I gotta wait another month for the next one.
I read Penguin 3, Tom King, Rafael de la Torre. I caught up with Penguin 2. This is a Tom King ongoing series, the second one of the week, actually, featuring this cover does not do the series justice. Also, the Force of July team that I'm assuming was a thing that Tom King read from a who's who in the DCU comic book from 50 years ago, are being assembled for Penguin's crack team that he's putting together, and I'm like, okay, Penguin's making a team, why, what? All right, it's goofy and well written, but also I'm of two minds about it. The art's fantastic despite this cover. I don't think this cover is really doing the series justice, but it also is harkening back to an old school kind of feel. I understand the approach. I just don't.
I know you hate words on the cover.
I don't mind words on the cover, but I don't like it when it's goofy and unless the tone is supposed to be goofy. This series Penguin didn't strike me as terribly goofy until this issue where I was like, oh, all right. But but still got that Tom King stoicism. And
are you less hyped for this now?
I am significantly less hyped for this series, though I didn't necessarily find anything objectionable about it. It was just kind of oh, all right, that's the direction we're going with this. That's That's one way to do it.
Okay.
Uncanny Spider-Man #2, of course, from Simon Spurrier and Lee Garbett came out.
Yeah,
Did you have a chance to look at this?
Of course I did.
I did as well. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were still on board for this series.
Oh yeah, no, but I read it because I just love that costume. And hey, Insomniac, where the hell is this costume? Put it in the game. Put it in the game. There's like 7 or 8 outfits that like nobody asked for. How about this one? One person asked for it, and that's one more person than asked for like an advanced armor suit for freaking Miles Morales. So let's have one of these.
So what'd you think about this?
It's good. It's engaging and fun. Simon Spurrier is a great writer.
Yeah.
And I like the use. It's funny to see the use of Spider-Man villains in service of an X-Men plot against an X-Men character dressed like a Spider-Man. Like all of it is it's delightfully not meta, but rather and not irreverent, because irreverent suggests that it's negative. I'd say it's subversive. It's delightfully subversive.
I think it's almost like in the best way possible. Like this is, we've said people like, or we've pitched that people have been given like a writing assignment.
Yes,
that's kind of what this is, though.
Make Nightcrawler Spider-Man.
Yeah, like what if
Mm-hmm.
Nightcrawler was Spider-Man and you had to write a Nightcrawler book, but only using Spider-Man characters.
Yeah, right. And it has to be
because Mystique's in it.
Mystique's in it too, but it also has to be distinctly within the confines of like it can't bleed out into in the first issue, Spider-Man himself can appear, but then never again. And never can it touch like what's going on in Spider-Man. It can only be about what's happening in X-Men right now. And that's really fun. Also, Silver Sable shows up, and that's also fantastic.
I love
the use of her is great.
So let's be honest, Rhino shows up, and it's so funny because Spurrier has done such a good job of creating this world that Kurt is now living in.
Right.
That I didn't even think twice about the fact that he was a Spider-Man character.
No, exactly.
Of course he's here.
Yeah, it's just Kurt.
Yep.
Right.
Yes. That Rhino was there, and I was like, sure.
No, Rhino fits perfectly in. So does everybody else. Tombs, etc. It's great.
Yes. But then we dropped the Silver Sable thing, and I was like, this is where, for me, the issue really shined overall. You have Silver Sable there working for a specific employee of Orcus who's trying to clean up his mess in a way, seemingly. And the fact that we get to see that Sable is working for the money, but also kind of like, don't lie to me about stuff.
Yeah.
And like, you're telling me that this guy did this, but I'm starting to think maybe that's not what happened. And also has her way in which she operates,
right?
Which doesn't go the way as planned.
Nope.
She puts herself into the fray, and we get almost like a little bit of like Peter Blackcat.
Yes.
Because like Kurt, as we know, is a little bit of a ladies' man.
Yes,
sometimes.
That's right.
Most times, when possible. And I loved their interaction of having the like her just being like holding his tail, being like, it's soft. Why is it soft?
Right.
Like, I don't understand.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I love the fact that, she's like, your neck is perfect. You have a perfect neck.
He's not wrong. She's not wrong. But yeah.
And she's just like, she's next to him. She's like,
can't help it.
She's like, he is really hot. This is a hot guy.
Yeah.
Okay. But like, I got to bring the hot guy in.
Right.
So it struck me as very earlier on in Spider-Man, like Peter Parker's like lifetime.
Exactly.
But now it's
kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's a kind of fun like approach. If that's the idea, is to like harken back to like almost like 70s, 80s Spider-Man. I kind of love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good book. Definitely check it out. Good art too.
For sure. Yeah, I like all of it. Garbett's doing a really nice job.
Agreed.
And I like Kurt in this role. I know it's leaning more heavily into the X stuff, but
very much so.
But it's set against this Spider-Man backdrop.
Yes.
I think it's balanced well.
Right. I'm sad to say I didn't get a chance to read Immortal Thor. There was a bunch of books that I wanted to read this week that I didn't get a chance to. Doom Patrol ended. There's a lot of books that came out that I was like,
you did have oral surgery.
But I did have oral surgery this morning, and I had to prepare for that. And everything. It was really stupid. But
that's acceptable.
Exactly. But I will say, I see certain creators in the chat making really good points. I'll talk about that in a minute. But
sure.
I should also mention that I read, of course, Predator vs. Wolverine #2. This time, Ben Percy, Ken Lashley, and Andrea DeVito.
Love that is his photo.
Yeah, right.
Because
Ben
having
Percy.
met him, I'm like, yep.
He just looks like Wolverine in that picture. It's amazing.
Ben Percy for Wolverine.
Yeah. But yeah, Predator vs. Wolverine, of course, I saw that from the trades. Like, this was the #1 book, I think, in the previous month. It's the number 20 book. this month.
A number one will always get you.
Yeah, but come on, guys. Pre-order the series. Keep it on the list. Let's go. I need more Predator versus Wolverine. I need more Predator versus Marvel characters.
Are you throwing around your audience?
Like influence?
Yeah, your influence.
Not at all. I'm just saying, this is great. And, Greg Land has nothing to do with this issue and won't anymore. And so it's worth it. You get, obviously, there's two stories. There's two timelines. There's like the present and then the past. Predators have been dogging Wolverine since his inception. This is, I think he's still pre-adamantium, but it's fun. It's a Predator movie. This is a Predator movie. It's in the past.
Yeah.
Wolverine's part of his like crack team, including like Maverick and Sabretooth. But it's just Predator 1.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to take down this like dictator or this general, El General. And so then the Predator attacks, but the Predator is there to hunt Wolverine. Like the Predator has been there to deal with Wolverine.
Right.
And Wolverine has been carrying around the like kind of, I don't know what you call it. That thing, like where you throw it and it's got like fans out. And
the
stuff
disc?
Like, no,
the other thing.
The other thing,
okay,
the awful thing that Paul W.H. Anderson invented for Alien vs. Predator. The like one, what would have been the worst Predator movie until the Predator came out. Yeah, I remember seeing a behind the scenes thing of that guy. The guy, the progenitor of the entire Resident Evil movie franchise, except for that second one. And he was so proud. He was so excited about like all the cool new tech the Predators were going to use and how beefy and awesome they were. And how all I could think about was that James Cameron and Ridley Scott were going to do an Alien vs. Predator. And they threw it away to let that effing hack make that movie. And I was just like, every time I even hear about Alien vs. Predator, I just get angry. Because it's just like it's like it would be like, hey man, I'm gonna give you a big delicious slice of pizza, and you're like, oh sweet, and then they're like, here's some dog shit, and it's like, that's not even close to what you said. No, that's a pizza, and they're just pointing to it and being like, that's pizza, and then going on the internet and being like, hey, this guy sold me shit instead of pizza. People going like, that's totally pizza, you idiot. Like that's what it's like being an Alien Predator fan. Anyway. This book's great. The art's fantastic, and hopefully the tradition of excellence will continue. I know it will because there's certain folk who maybe showed me some pages, and I'm really excited to see more of it. But Predator vs. Wolverine, great series. Pick up more. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love this series if you haven't already. Also, I kind of want more. Like I just want to isolate the present day stuff.
Yes. Okay.
It's just really cool. It's just really cool stuff. It's a great series. I really enjoy it. And it's not great because it's not gonna win any awards, which is a shame, but it's fun.
But maybe issue 4 will.
Yeah, maybe. That'd be nice. But going back to the super chats really quick. The Carl Maxey says, do you think people nope, that's the Ant-Man thing. Charzy says, the man on YouTube with the best goatee on YouTube. Well, you're very kind.
I agree.
And special co-host Tifoki loved the Halloween back issues. Can't wait for next year's. Lovely have a lovely rest of your week. You too, Charzy. Thank you. Thanks for remarking on the outfit. Tiffany went all in. I did the opposite. I don't even think I showered today. That's how low effort I did today. Dark Classic Gamer. What did you guys think of Spider-Man 2 on the PS5? Tiffany's playing it live Tuesdays and Wednesdays on youtube.com/@ComicPop Plays. Go to the description, click the link, and subscribe. Check it out, and you will check out that awesome stream. You're relatively spoiler-free. Early.
I've been very spoiler-free.
Yeah, I did finish it, and I can say that I am supremely disappointed by the costume offerings. Although I did just unlock the classic black costume, and I'm very excited about it.
Okay,
it looks great. Not like I noticed that it had become available in my gallery, and it's the version from the game. But then there's another one, and it's like the comic book version. I'm like, this is the one I will be using for the rest of my time playing this game forever.
Okay,
unless they release a sensational Spider-Man suit, because even though I don't love Ben. Can't argue that suit's fun.
Okay.
Get it back. And also Nightcrawler.
Yes.
Yeah, man. CJ Hall, CPop Woo. Thank you very much. Happy Halloween. See you on the replay. You too,
Thank
CJ.
I'm not sure if the next one is or is not a spoiler because I noticed that our moderator made it go away in the chat. So I'm trying not to look at it just in case if it's something spoiling for the game.
Oh, is it this one? Oh, no, it is a complete spoiler for the for the game. So thank you, Christos Kotsonis. We do appreciate your support, but we will not be reading your super chat. Bryce Harriet, wait, really? Thank you. Salazar Wise Comic Guru. I have no idea to what you're referring, Bryce, based on this.
Oh my gosh.
It could be.
Remember, it was the Halloween comics.
What?
It was your
Yeah.
TikTok to Diamond and another
Yeah.
publishers.
I mean, listen, that's what they used to do. There's actually old ComicPop videos of us like working directly with them about that. So, you know, give it a try. I wish I'd thought of that.
Happened.
I know. I can't believe I didn't do that myself. What a fool I am. Charzy comes back to say, I have a question for you two. Do you have any horror comics to recommend? Superhero and or indie? I'm a supervillain horror kick after reading Batman Vampire. Hey, Batman Vampire.
Well, you could read Batman Dark Knight Dark City. You could read hang on. I was like, wait, what have we done in the past?
Right? There's Batman Haunted Night, obviously, from Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale.
Yep, there's Batman the Doom That Came to Gotham. You could pick up Witches. You could do
The Nice House on the Lake.
Nice House on the Lake for sure. Arkham Asylum, Living Hell.
Arkham Asylum, Serious House, and Serious Earth.
Yeah. You could pick up Something's Killing the Children.
Yes.
You could try The Me You Love in the Dark.
Oh yeah.
You could go for you could read some Sandman for
yes.
sure.
Immortal Hulk, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sandman's great. Yeah. So there you go.
There's
a smattering of recommendations for you. Sean Conwell, great Halloween episode, guys. Thanks for mentioning The Depths. Went and read, and hot damn, was it good. Wish Marvel did more like these with the others. I think that movie book's 20 years old now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do wish Marvel would do that.
Yeah. I almost feel like I might do that book before Halloween next year.
That'd be fun.
I don't want to wait, but I
don't blame you.
I'm afraid of like not having something for next year.
We'll have something for next year. There's plenty of Batman stories.
Yeah.
I mean, we've never had Nocturna, or Nocturne has never appeared on the couch. It's a Batman villainess that I think would be amazing on an Halloween episode.
No, you're right. Someone mentioned Silver Coin. It is a great anthology. Every issue is written by a different creator. Some of them very suited to horror.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Agreed. Cat Larry with the Finch Retreats. Sal, what happened to all the occult Batman stories? I mean, honestly, Rom V's Detective is an occult Batman ongoing series. Yeah. So like that is where you want to go if you were looking for heady Batman stuff.
The Batman Gotham?
Oh, I agree.
By the way, that's another one.
Get Batman Gotham. Yeah, no,
most of them are Batman themed for us.
But Batman lends himself to that, like the Batman Deadman book. That was the thing. I mean, I mean, there was a whole horror themed Bat/DC event, right? Mm-hmm. That was it called? Night Terrors?
Oh yeah.
Remember that was a whole Halloween themed DC Comics event with a bazillion tie-ins.
Yeah.
Go back and find them. Fish them out of the 50-cent bins and check them out. Ouch. I'm sorry. Ouch. I live in the real world where that's where they are. Dan V900, what was said about Ben Reilly reminds me of Tom Brevoort saying in a post years ago about how when fans are outraged about a controversial topic, it gets more attention, which always leads to better sales. Yeah, that's right. If fans are happy and embrace a comic, the numbers are soft. I hate that mentality, but it hasn't changed ultimately for him. The reality is it hasn't changed for the industry either. The frustrating part is like a critically acclaimed book on Twitter typically sells like shit compared to a universally Twitter reviled comic book. Like it's just the nature of the industry. Is that fair? No. Should we change it? Sure. How? Once you figure it out, let me know in the comments down below. But I'm just saying, like, Brevoort says that with impunity because he lives and breathes it. I mean, and the fact is, if you look at like his, when people go back and go like, oh, give me like a trade paperback to read, like they're not those. They're not the ones where it's like, oh, it was always upsetting and miserable. Sure, yeah. But they're not trying to get you to read something from 20 years ago. They're trying to get you to spend anywhere between $3, really more like $4 to $6 to $10 a month.
Right.
On one book. Or every other month or every month. It's just like that's just the nature of the industry for the big two.
Right.
I imagine that, in the indie scene, it would be an insanely inverted way to do it. Boris Fraser, did you hear the Alan Scott writer is giving his royalties to an LGBTQ charity? Yes, I did, in fact, hear about that. Yeah, he got a lot of pushback for a character that like nobody reads about and that nobody cares about. And I'm like, wow. Okay. It's just, seems like a real weird distribution of energy.
Yeah.
Alta's Bane says, I don't usually spend my money on Marvel, but I do for Steve Rogers solos, and it was awesome. I don't regret a single penny on either issue. Glad Sal is enjoying it as well. Thanks, man, and thank you for spending a couple of those pennies on us. We do appreciate the support. But also, yeah, Captain America, man. Although I will say, I love this series. I think it's great. 2 issues in. But the book that got me really excited recently, within the past 10 years or so, was that Chris Samnee Mark Waid book. That was a Captain America book. I'm like, yes.
There you go.
Why can't I just have that all the time? Nikki T, I love that Sal, every time he mentions JMS, he has to throw in Creator Babylon 5. Can't tell if he's making fun of them or not. That's true. He also says, hey, Tiffany, are you playing AW2 yet?
It's SW2 yet?
Yes. I have no idea what that is.
Wait, no, it's not. I guess you're right. No.
No.
No. I don't know what that is.
Right?
I thought it was... I don't know what I thought it was.
I don't know what that means.
I'm going to look it up.
Girk Pectus, what should Insomniac make next? He said after Wolverine. He clarifies that. I'd like Silver, maybe Silver Sable series or Silver Surfer. I don't know. He goes on and on in the chat. But, after Wolverine, I'd like to see him tackle the Avengers or Daredevil. I mean, I don't want to just see him do like a clone. Like, I don't want to see like Spider-Man, but instead he's using a billy club. He can't go as high. But
this can't be what this is, because this is a Game Boy game from 2003.
Yeah, it's probably not that. Alan Wake 2.
Alan Wake, thank you.
Yeah.
No, because I'm playing Spider-Man and Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. I've disappointed myself. No, I knew it was coming out, and I was like, you know what? I can't take on a third game.
No, I don't blame you.
I can't. But I am taking on a third game because I just purchased my friend the Return to Moria.
Yeah.
And I have it as well, so we can play together. So I can't.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I won't ever.
Right, exactly.
Just not yet. I'll wait till it's like, the dead of winter and make it really scary.
There we go. We also read Tom.
Wait, hang on. I got one more.
Oh, you got another one?
I got one more.
Well, go ahead.
I read Jean Grey #3 this week.
Yay, I didn't know if you had time.
Of course I did.
Good for
you. I
you.
always have time for Wheezy.
Yeah, well.
This is written by Louise Simonson with art by Bernard Chang.
We also wish them a speedy recovery.
Absolutely.
I know they have the Rona, and we wish them the best.
Look at how cute Bernard Chang is.
The Wheezies.
So this is the journey of Jean Grey's consciousness, presumably post her death.
Yes, or during death,
or during
mid-death. Yeah, in her death throes.
In like those moments of death, presumably.
Yeah.
Because in Immortal X-Men, remember, Hope and Exodus just came across.
Yes.
Her.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Yeah.
Or at least part of her.
Mm.
So Jean's been kind of going back to her greatest hits.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw her, when she first joined the X-Men.
Yes.
We have seen her when she got the
Phoenix.
And it's all these moments of like, where did it go wrong?
Yes.
Where did I go wrong?
Mm-hmm.
It always leads to death and destruction. Is it this? Is it this? So this time we're going to Inferno.
Okay, cool.
Right. So we get a little bit of Madeline Pryor there.
Yeah.
This is a great examination of that and gives you a really down and dirty, quick sort of description of Inferno.
Yes, which I do appreciate.
Yes. So if you don't have that, don't feel like you're out of
the loop.
Yeah, or you're out of your depths here. Reezy's going to take care of you.
Yes.
She will take care of you. You'll get the information you need that's pertinent in order to understand what's going on in the issue. We explain where Maddie comes from. Right. The reason that, she was created. You just get little snippets, right? Yeah. Just enough. And in this, Jean decides, what if she had saved the baby?
Oh.
Nathan.
Yes.
Or Christopher, as she calls him.
Okay.
Which pisses Maddie off. She's like, his name's Nathan.
You weren't even there.
And so we see that inevitably in this potential universe that Madeline Pryor would get the Phoenix.
Cool.
I'm like, okay, yeah, the Phoenix is always a problem.
Yes.
So they attempt to save the baby. We see Madeline Pryor all phoenixed out. It's crazy looking.
Whoa, that is crazy looking.
Right? Bernard Chang, coming in strong.
Yeah.
Coming in hot. With this. And they fight. The two of them fight. They have a, really, in-depth conversation, obviously, because this is really kind of Jean talking to herself. And not in like on several levels, because it's like Jean talking to herself because Madeline's a clone of her. It's Jean talking to herself because it's really all happening in her mind.
Yeah. It's not actually happening. Yeah.
I love this big version of, the
New York
being destroyed.
Yeah.
As Madeline is like, screw you, I was going to bring everything down. That's how I'll rule this world. The Phoenix does try to come to Jean and goes like, I could help you.
Yeah, right.
I could leave her.
Yeah, I don't need this clone.
Yeah, you could I'll just come to you. Jean's like, no, every time we do that, it ends in death. He's
right.
like,
I already did that.
Okay, fine.
Okay, fine.
I mean, it's going to happen no matter what. It's just, you could be.
Yeah.
It could be you.
Right.
And then we see Jean looking up and hearing Hope talking to her, and she's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, these books are completely connecting to each other. Immortal X-Men is connected to what's going on in this.
Is that true? Yes. Or is it okay? Good. Yeah. You're like, and then no, it completely contrasts and doesn't contradicts the other book.
No,
that's amazing.
I was like, what?
How cool? Let's
Jean's like, wait, Hope and Exodus?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. So
wow.
they're working together. These teams are talking to each other.
Wow.
Weird, right?
Yes, it's a novelty.
But I love this last panel of Jean faced with
herself.
Yeah, all these genes from the past.
Yeah, including an Age of Apocalypse version of herself.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. She should also face the friggin' Bendis version of herself, the young one.
I know this is a limited series. I think this is the penultimate. I think she's only getting 4.
I believe you're right. I think it's 4.
And so we're going to be wrapping this up. I would definitely take more of Louise Simonson on this character. I'd love to hear what she had to say about her.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Right.
I fully support this book. I love it. And when I spoke to her down in Baltimore about like issue 1 and how much I loved it, she was like, I hope I don't let you down.
Oh,
We're 3 issues, or now we're 3 issues in, and
not yet,
not at all.
Not at all.
I think we're gonna stick this landing, and this is a book that I did not expect to care that much about. Like, I like Jean, I really do. I appreciate her. I'm not a Jean stan,
right?
But I'm really liking the examination of this character.
Yeah, the voice for her is spectacular.
The introspection is spectacular, and the idea of doing what ifs that matter.
Yeah,
it is like a what if. Like, what if I just change this one thing? But it's not a throwaway. It's just it's a mind exercise. So great. Anyway, good stuff.
Oh, good point, Gavin. There's a certain point in Spider-Man 2 that showed that Insomniac could crush a Hulk game. I would love to see a Hulk game from Insomniac too. That'd be great too.
Yes, there are so many options. How about just a Doctor Strange game? You keep almost giving it to me.
How?
I don't care.
No, I mean,
I'm not a game designer.
All right. Well, you play a lot of them.
This doesn't make me a game designer. I eat a lot of food. I'm not a chef.
Daniel Hospitalis says, ComicPop rocks. Haven't been able to pop in for a while. Have you read into Chris Wozniak's lawsuit against Warner Brothers? Thoughts? Keep it up. No, I don't care. But thank you for being here, man. Thanks for your support. Yes, but no. Pop Culture Guy 3000, do you think X-Men Blue Origins is going to retcon that Mystique is Kurt's father and Destiny is his mother? Yes. What if Azazel resurrected stillborn Kurt? Gross. But yes, I think you're going to see that Destiny is like the mom. Yeah, definitely. They're leading toward, I think we're heading down that path. Arduit says, ComicPop woo to you too. Thanks all for keeping me company at work and for suggestions. Happy Halloween. You too, man. Thank you very much.
Halloween to you too.
Mr. Master 201, thanks for your support and for your generosity. Happy Hallow for two of my favorite comic YouTubers, comedians, and comic book fans on planet Earth. I have been watching since 11 years old and have been thrust into an art form I'd love to make a career out of. Please do Wade's WF. I don't know what that means. World's Finest. Yes. We have the first volume in trade. I've been reading this book since issue 1. I love it. It's great. You'll see it. We'll do it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, good luck and congratulations to making it this far with us. We do appreciate it, man. MacGyver Game says, I pre-order a new series, but was told I have to wait a month because it didn't hit the limit order for my area. Boo. See, this is the failure of the comic book industry right here. Is that kind of restrictions. There are other ways around it. You could always, subscribe to the series through mail order from other stores like Midtown, etc. But when you have that, you could just wait. That sucks. Or you could go to your local other comic book store. But yeah, I'm sorry. But thank you for your support, man. Thank you so much for your generosity. And sorry that you had a roadblock. It's something that I don't normally foresee. But I should definitely factor that into my recommendations when I suggest that kind of thing. Rido agrees Sensational should be a costume in the game. It's my favorite Spider-Man costume of all time, even if Ben Reilly is, Ben Reilly. There's a man after my own heart. Thomas Daughtry, I want to start reading X-Men, but I don't know where to start. I tried picking up a few issues of X-Men last year, but I was lost. Where should I start? I mean, you could start with any trade and just read it with a browser or your phone next to it, so you can just check the characters.
You know what though? That's a hard question because it's like, do you want to be? Are you interested in the Krakoa era?
Right.
Because if you're interested in the Krakoa era, then always start with
Hawks and Pox and just go from there. And honestly, with Hawks and Pox, and I think Tiffany, you can really weigh in on this, but I think that as long as if you start with Hawks and Pox, you read X-Men, the main series, and then whatever other title you're interested in.
but also throw Excalibur in there.
And sure, if you want to read Excalibur, but when it comes to the events,
you read Ten of Swords,
but you read the events, Ten of Swords and so forth. But
and from that, you'll determine
who you like
I
the best
know more
or what
about this because that was really across the line sort of event, and so you'll be able to pick from that, I want to learn more about these teams, so you go back and read those. But if you're just saying just X-Men in general, I would say identify a time period that you're the most interested in.
I would say that Astonishing X-Men from Whedon is a great, very easy, shallow end of the pool to get into. You can really acclimate yourself to the X-Men, and John Cassidy's art is second to none. It is not it's not very deep in continuity. It's not like jumping in to read Fatal Attractions, which I would not recommend as your first X-Men book. I would also read God Loves Man Kills. Maybe that's like a self-contained graphic novel and introduce you to these characters. It's subversive and not subversive, but it is inflammatory, and I think it'll scratch an itch that you're looking for. And then of course you can go back and read like the Dark Phoenix Saga or something where it's like, I know these characters, I know the story kind of to the back of my mind, but this is like the deeper parts. And like the Dark Phoenix Saga or the Phoenix Saga is like one of those things where it's like, that was certainly, I think the Phoenix Saga was my first book, but not the way that it's collected today. There was like an old trade with that was painted, I believe, by Sienkiewicz that collected like some of, but not all of the Phoenix Saga. And it was like, that's the way we did it back then. So, I would recommend the Phoenix Saga only because it would acclimate you to those characters. Even if you were like, is that even Jean Grey? Is that a clone? I don't remember. But go with that.
Additionally, if you are just interested in jumping on at the starting point of some X-Men, you could just wait a bit.
Yeah.
And wait till they start with the Revort.
Yes.
You could start there too. But if you're looking for Krakoa, if you're like, I'm really interested in this whole Krakoa time period, definitely start with Hawks and Pox. Additionally, I saw some people talking some more about this whole Kurt Destiny, Mystique thing. Is that on the table that they've been talking about doing that?
Yeah.
That changing that up?
Yeah.
Because I noted
it's been a big fan theory, but it's certainly been discussed.
But I noted in Uncanny Spider-Man.
Yes, that's been discussed.
But that she specifically says, "Where's my baby?" As though maybe there's another baby.
Oh. Okay.
I was just wondering.
I thought they were referring to Kurt.
It could be. I'm just throwing out, ridiculously unnecessary ideas.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I do.
Secret kid, secret brother,
secret
sister. But of course, we have a really dope female Nightcrawler from the multiverse that we could get. Somber Shadow. Hey guys, I really want the Prowler Miles suit from Across the Spider-Verse in Spider-Man 2. One of my favorite designs. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I think you'll see it. I think that most of, if not all of, the Across the Spider-Verse suits will appear.
You think?
Yes.
Okay.
Sony wants money. So yeah, Wonder Woman #2 from Daniel Sampere and of course Tom King. This is the second issue of the continuation of the ongoing Wonder Woman book. Strong reset to the character and the title. There's also a companion series called Amazon's Attack. I can't believe the audacity of having another series using the exact same logo. It's outrageous to me that they would even consider that, but here we are. That being said, forget about that, and it's not really relevant. It is only in as much as that's going to be the book to refer to what's happening in this book, and you feel like it would really affect all the books, but it doesn't. But I'm sure that Josh will reference it in his books.
Okay.
I think it already has come up a little bit, but not to the point where it's like, oh, that really changed everything. So yeah, this is of course the best looking Daniel Sampere book I've ever seen. Daniel Sampere continues to crush it throughout. Daniel Sampere, of course, you're probably familiar with his work thanks to Dark Crisis, but also launched this series as well. And by this point, Daniel Sampere has probably finished 8 or 9 issues. Yeah, let's say 8, because I think he was finished with 7 when we were at New York Comic Con.
Okay.
So I'm going to say he's probably on 8, if not finishing his 8th issue of Wonder Woman. So we're looking at least 12 issues, if not more. But it's an ongoing, but it's Tom King, so it could be 12, it could be 100, we never know. And by 100, of course, I mean using Tom King math, that 80. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think of this series? This is the second issue. I remember promising that the first issue was a lot of setup. This one had a lot more action in it and got going.
Yeah. I mean, I loved he had me in the first issue.
Yeah.
Because of how enraged he made me.
Mm-hmm.
It was like you elicited a reaction based on the words that people are saying in this book.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm in. And I really did like this issue quite a bit.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the pairing of action with also the explanation of who Tom King's Diana is without really committing to anything.
Yeah,
I liked it.
In the show, on Elseworlds Exchange, Tom admitted that he writes her with a Gal Gadot voice.
Well, I don't mean that. I mean, like, literally talking about her background.
Yes.
That
yeah, we've
section
never seen that like that before, but I like it.
where we talk about the many origins of her and
Right.
tying it to myth and legend. He gets a little meta, even saying about how often the stories you hear about her are more about the people who are telling them
Yes.
than her. And I was like,
Hmm.
all right, Tom.
All right, Tom, you got it. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. But yeah, that acknowledgement that, you know, obviously this is a story being told to Trinity.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciated that. The idea of keeping her tied to mythology, whether that even just be through the way in which
it's
story
told
and her history is like passed
right.
down.
It's not like the way Brian Azzarello was like, no, literally, like Hades is going to be a character in the book. Like that's pretty heavily tied to mythology. This is more like, the way in which myths are depicted and
also
told.
Just really well done. The balancing of the past and present. Absolutely. Sampere really nailed that.
Yes.
And I thought they did a nice job of carrying the dialogue through, even though it was not exactly the same in each time period.
No.
It flows really well, and you get the gist of it by the end.
Agreed. Yeah. It also introduces the name of the offender. That was a fun like reveal that I think I saw coming, but like I don't think it was meant. It's not about getting you to be surprised. It's about like the being in the moment, like the moment where Wonder Woman's in that duel.
Yep.
In the past to become Wonder Woman in the first place. And
okay, can we be real talk right now?
I think we always are.
I completely forgot that was the inside incident.
I know.
I didn't even think about it. I was so in this conversation about who she is and the military coming to get her and this fight and like revealing, are we going with this origin? Are we going with that? I was so into that conversation that at the end I was like, who the hell is this?
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, right.
Oh right. The one they're chasing, the one who actually started the war.
Right. I think that's
awesome.
A good thing.
Right. I agree.
100%. I was so into this issue. I wasn't thinking about the story as a whole. And that said, if you're reading it in a trade, I would 100% be like, oh my God.
Yeah. You'd be like, whoa. Oh no, it's Emily.
It's Emily.
Which I did not read it as. I was like, oh, you're ruthing it up. You're going to spell a regular name ridiculously.
I don't think that's ridiculous at all. Like,
no.
At all.
I'm sure it's spelled that way in a place somewhere. But yeah, Sergeant Seal is in the book. If you're like, hey, I remember him. And
I love to hate him.
He's the heavy, but he's also fun.
I just hate him.
He's a fun, one-dimensional bad guy. Yep. Steve Trevor, obviously, he's depicted in this in kind of like a heavy way, but it's also like meant to be like it's not about him.
No, it's not about him.
And he's not going to be like his history is connected to Diana. We get it. He supports her, but also is like distinctly not like part of the story.
Yeah.
It's
he's
not
there
like
to save her. He's not there to whatever. He's just
there.
And I do appreciate that he's more there like, I'm here because they told me to. Because
right. I'm under orders.
They think they're going to do something here. And I know that this is not going to go their way. And
right.
I'm kind of more like, please don't.
Right. Yeah. It's more like a warning to them, but all right. But yeah, I think it's, it's a strong showing.
Mm-hmm.
It's one that is, it's doing everything it's supposed to be doing. It's telling a complete story.
Mm-hmm.
It's making Wonder Woman the focus, despite all of the like hullabaloo about Trinity, her future daughter, being like kind of like the breakout character that has not appeared in the last two issues of the book.
Right.
And it's spectacular. And it like this is a AAA book. Like this is a on par with Batman book.
Yes.
At least it should be.
Yes.
And I hope that it's getting attention because it's it's spectacular read.
Yeah.
I have not yet read issue 3, but I do have access to it. And
Oh.
I'll have to give it to you as well. I'll have to read it and enjoy it. But
Okay.
yeah, it's just it's a treat. But it's also, it makes you feel good reading it. You're like, all right, cool.
It does, and it doesn't, but it does.
Exactly. But yeah, Pop Culture Guy 3000 asks, whatever happened to Nocturne anyway? Nocturne being Talia Wagner, and I don't know if you're familiar with Nocturne.
I don't think I
It's
am.
a female Nightcrawler. She's dope.
I thought you were talking when they said I don't know. They said Nocturne. I thought they were talking about what we were talking
the one
about
from
earlier.
Batman.
Yeah, I was like, wait,
no, there's another
we're
Nocturne.
just coming around.
And this one is, I remember being introduced to her through Exiles. And that was fun. But yeah, she's the daughter of Nightcrawler.
Sure.
From another timeline. And I like her a lot. I think we could see more of her. I just like the design. She's a fun character. There's also, I think she appears in Chris Claremont's Out of Continuity X-Men book that got canceled because, of course, it did, like, years ago.
Okay.
Like another one.
Right.
I think it was called X-Men Forever. And I think she tries to hook up with Spider-Man.
Oh.
But Matthew Macedo says, hey, just wanted to say, love watching you guys. I wanted to know your thoughts on the Batwoman who laughs at the end of Unstoppable Doom Patrol. She was introduced, I believe, in Justice League Incarnate, the miniseries from both Josh Williamson and Dennis Culver. Primarily, I think, Dennis Culver. She's a joke. She's silly. She's not meant to be as impactful or as influential or as much of an influence and problem as the Batman Who Laughs.
Sure.
This Batwoman Who Laughs is not Kathy Kane, by the way. It is a universe where the genders are flipped. So it's a female Bruce Wayne Batman who then becomes the Batman Who Laughs. So it's like, it is not like a very weird version. It's a pretty weird version.
Okay.
That being said, I couldn't care less. But if Batwoman Who Laughs has to be in anything, I love that she's in a Doom Patrol book. Please stay there.
Absolutely.
And Charzy says, I know you don't really care for the offering of suits in Spider-Man 2, but personally I like the main suits. However, I changed Peter's color scheme to red and black and white as it looks 10 times better. I changed it up a lot. I loved the color options and changing up, and it's a lot of fun.
So far, I've actually I don't mind the suits, but
I don't mind them.
But like, I'm not a hardcore Spider-Man fan, so it's just very different.
I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, give me, like, make up a bunch of suits, knock yourself out. But like, but there's a lot of there's so many more I can think of, and there's only like 4 more slots I have unlocked or to unlock left. And I'm like, well, they can't all be in there.
Well, not yet. I mean, but they always do DLC.
They do. Like the last one, they kept adding them. So come on. I mean, I should at least have all the suits from the last game. That's a bare minimum, But I fear I'm gonna get like a big time suit instead of a sensational suit.
I know this isn't like, I don't love anything outside of the main book from this universe, but did they ever do this one?
Yes. Oh no, there's a spider bot you can collect that is that. I don't know if 1602 gets a suit. I don't recall, but there is a spider bot you can collect with the spider with the
spider bot.
The Riddler trophies. There's something like that in the game.
Oh. Spoilers.
Yeah, I can't believe there is no Future Foundation suit in this. I don't understand it. Anyway, I also read Amazing Spider-Man 36. I'm going to talk very briefly about it. Zeb Wells, Zeb McGinnis. I really liked, I think, the last issue. This issue reintroduces Rec Rap.
Cover.
This cover's phenomenal. It's a great cover. It's really cool. And it's not, don't worry. He's not Goblin. Ed McGinnis. Ed McGinnis does great covers.
Marvel should kiss the ground that Ed McGinnis walks on for this cover, because I guarantee you more people bought this just because they're like, yeah, right. This looks cool.
Right? It's cool. I would be very mad if I spent like money on this regularly. I don't understand how this is still like the #1 book from Marvel, but here it is anyway. It's like 3 pages of story, and most of it is about a character that, like, you know what the problem with Rec Rap is? You know what I'm going to say? He insists upon himself. And it's just like it's Rec Rap shows up, and I feel this like kind of like old school comics, like Scud the Disposable Assassin, kind of like self-congratulatory, like comedians in a back room smoking cigarettes, like, and laughing at the non-humor, like being like, like Rec Rap is the worst thing, and like people are so mad, and so like I think I'm gonna do like an arc about Rec Rap, just to see how mad people can get. And then, like, the funniest part to me is that there are people who love Rec Rap. Like, that's the best part, because of course we all know he sucks, but like I put him out there and people ate him up. You
That
know,
means,
I
like,
feel like it's a joke on me.
if they're still writing Spider-Man books in like 20, 25 years, that Wreck Rap will come back and they'll give him like a
Like an arc, like a whole like
yeah,
redemption
and people will
arc,
be like,
like Justice for Wreck Rap. Yeah, I'm just like, I don't, I get it, or I don't. Like either it's like mean or it's dumb, but it can't be both. And I don't know which it could be. But I will say that if I were like a regular Spider-Man reader, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? There's so much more you could be doing that isn't this.
right, right,
Why? The Peter Parker stuff, you know, it is what it is. It's trying to do what it's trying to do, but it's not, you know, it's not engaging. It's just, you know, I'm not going to go into like the whole, like, this is a book that I, you know, like, I'm not going to be like, Paul, boo, you know, Paul's not in the book, but, you know, but every day I see a thread about it on Reddit about
right.
Paul.
Sure.
And I'm like, you know, the more you talk about him, the more people,
Yeah, they're just
like,
gonna keep
they're
it
just going to
coming.
keep, especially when you know that like outrage is like their like marketing strategy. Like like I don't know. It just seems like the best thing you can do. You know, it's like friggin' Flynn. It's like the best way to win is not to play. You know, it's just don't give in. You know, like I'm just saying the thing that busted my chops was like I read it in like 5 minutes,
Okay.
and I'm like, man, what a waste of money. Like it was just like I was not entertained.
just
I was not
mad.
I was not engaged. Like sometimes I can be, and that's the thing is like, you know, I buy them not because I'm like a rage baited lunatic. It's because like I'm an optimist, and I'm always like, there's always an opportunity. And like, there have been episodes of this show where I'm like, oh, I just picked up a new issue of Spider-Man, and you know what? Like I hated like everything you did, and then this is great. You know, and it's the case with like a lot of comics. You know, there's I didn't really care for the Tom King run, but there are books that are great in that run. You know, I was very you know, down on the Snyder Capullo run, and yet I think it's the top 3 best teams on Batman ever assembled.
Right, right.
You know, like
Yeah.
you know, some might call that contradictory or hypocritical. I say that it's just like nuanced and offering to, you know, meet people halfway. But this book sucks.
Okay.
It's just this issue particularly. Like the cover was like, oh, cool. That's why I read it, because you know, I remember you were like, oh man.
Yeah.
But that issue, man. I mean, it's all just like anti-humor Adult Swim back patting. That's what it felt like to me.
Okay.
You know, Spider-Man shows up. He's like, this guy sucks. Maddie's in it, obviously. Like,
yeah.
but Chasm's not. No reference to him. No reference whatsoever. Which is why I was like, oh, you don't have. No, you're never going to use Chasm.
That's really weird.
No, it was like, and you know that like it wasn't like those books like that. Like X-Men was written at the same time as this. Like they had time.
Yeah, yeah.
And they definitely were like,
that up.
yeah, hey, like you're not. I just saw Rec Rap pages. You're not going to put like I saw you put Maddie Pryor in the book. Is she is Chasm in this? Because I don't want to step on your toes. Oh no, no. We just want Maddie in the book because Hellions. I don't care about who. So yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. So don't waste your money if from last week. But anyway, yeah, woof. What a mistake. But yeah, Dan V900, Rec Rap or Rogolzar, choose your fighter. I mean, honestly, Rogolzar might be better than Rec Rap because Rec Rap is just a stupid joke. Like,
okay, yeah.
Rogolzar is Rogolzar. Okay, you know what this is?
Okay, what is it?
Rogolzar is the room to Rec Rap's Sharknado.
Okay.
Sharknado is fake.
Or hang on. Can I
yeah, please.
Can I say the
riff
same
on
vein?
it? Yeah.
Ready? Rogolzar is Birdemic.
Yes.
And Rec Rap is Birdemic too.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Because Rogolzar is like a genuine attempt to add something to the world, and it's just from the jump, it sucks.
Yeah.
But Birdemic 2 is like, oh, I'm in the joke too. Yeah, let's all make a joke.
No, you're not.
No, you don't. You can't participate in the joke.
This is not that kind of.
That joke. Is not that kind of joke. Yeah, Rec Rap, eat me. Girk Pectus, do you think Marvel can make good Amazon stories without Wonder Woman? I mean, one would argue they've been trying for years.
I think they can. I just don't know if people are willing to
give her a shot. I mean, no, everyone gave Yara Flor a shot. That book was Joelle Jones's to lose.
Yes.
You know,
But I'm just saying, like, the question is, can they do it? And I'm like, I think so.
Yeah,
I
they
just
can
don't
do
know
it.
if there's enough of an audience to continue it.
No, I think they have done it. They just don't.
Yeah.
Or they fail. I mean, Wonder Woman's tough. I think you can sell a different Amazon over Wonder Woman more easily.
Well, because you have to have a number one.
Well, because you have a number one, but also because I think Wonder Woman, honestly, like, I've read a lot of Wonder Woman books in proportion to my interest to Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, Wonder Woman, for the most part, to me, are horribly boring, uninteresting stories. I don't like them. And not because I'm a misogynist. I'm not like, oh, I'm just like, these are notoriously boring. And there's nothing about her, that I can, like, she's like Padme Amidala to me. Like, name a distinctive characteristic about Wonder Woman without using her, like, title or her, like, origins. And it's like, I don't have anything for you.
Okay.
That also suggests maybe she's a blank canvas, but I feel like I'm not alone in this subject. And I think, like, Wonder Woman carries along this distinction of, like, she's the first, she's the biggest, she's the best. Like, and it's like, she has a lot of baggage. So it needs to be great out of the gate. You're not going to get, it's not the 90s. You're not going to get like 89 issues of Wonder Woman.
Right.
You got to start big, which is why it was like, oh, Dead Earth, I'm in. Yes. It's not Wonder Woman, basically. Like, it's something else. But, but I think if you were like, hey, here's this new character, here's what she's all about, boom. That's why I think people are so excited about Yara Flor. So I'm like, this I get.
Right.
And the art was like, but, then they couldn't keep up with it. And that's the only problem. Joel Jones didn't screw up. It's just that, like, couldn't keep up with the damn thing.
Yeah, no, I tend to think the issue is that, Superman and Batman have very defining characteristics.
Yes.
And I think they just didn't really, no one could agree on who she was and who she is.
There's no definitive Wonder Woman book.
Right.
Like defines
well, there are for some people. For some people, they're like, it's this. And for other people, it's like, oh no, but it's this.
Right. But like the majority of the fandom isn't all like, year one, at least we can all agree for like some like 20 to 30 year period, year one was Batman's origin and it's all awesome.
And that's the thing. Like, think about it. The other day I was in the school library at the school I work for, and I was waiting to have a meeting, and they have like the very, very tiny
graphic novel section,
right? But it's there, and like, what was there was All-Star Superman. And I picked that up and I opened up the cover, and what do you see when you open up the cover? That the first page is that like 4-panel origin story, and I'm like, you can do a 4-panel origin story for him, and you can do a 4-panel origin story for Batman,
Spider-Man, even Captain America.
It's really hard to do it for Wonder Woman because there isn't a definitive iteration of how she came to be.
Even if you were to,
and I'm wondering if that isn't part of what makes, like, she is part of the zeitgeist, the pop culture zeitgeist.
Yeah.
But she's lacking that foundation, I feel like.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah. And even if you were to take each of her origins, you still couldn't All-Star Superman first page her. You couldn't do each of those origins and still save and still do it in 4 panels.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem.
It is and it is. I don't know. I struggle with that, but I feel like,
yeah. Well, and also, like, if anyone's going to make any genuine effort to do it today, you're about 50 years too late to like grab people culturally with her. Like, Superman and Batman and Spider-Man have been around for 70 plus years, and they've had that time to seep into the cultural landscape. Wonder Woman has always been like superficial. That's the woman one, the girl one. It's why Marvel's the same problem. There's no Wonder Woman for Marvel, and why everyone's like, it's Storm, it's She-Hulk, it's Captain Marvel. Like, I don't know, because Marvel never made any. Marvel's like, what does that mean? Well, I don't know what that means. And even with the ones they do pick, it's like She-Hulk, you can't all-star that. You can't all-star Captain Marvel. Storm, you can, which is why that kind of works. It's like, actually, I would like to see a All-Star Superman first page origin for Storm.
Yeah, it'd be cool
to open a Storm book. But anyway, let's talk about some comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. I guess I'll have to recommend Detective Comics 1076.
Is this weekly?
It's bi-weekly, so it might have been that it came out like right on the heels of itself. But it's great. Or at least the last one was.
They're putting it on Halloween.
Oh, that comes out tomorrow.
Halloween week.
All Saints Day month. Ultimate Universe #1 comes out. I'm going to read that.
Yes.
We'll see how that goes. I think that's $7. Just right down the drain.
It is $7. Hang on. How many pages?
40.
That's not enough.
That is not enough.
But maybe it's 40 no ads.
No
I don't know.
ads?
We'll
Bet
see.
it isn't.
I bet you're right.
It's Marvel. Obviously, the greatest new breakout character, Spider-Boy. No, I'm kidding. There's a Return to Superman 30th Anniversary Special #1. Like its predecessor of Death of Superman 30th Anniversary Special, it is all original content. Don't let that book end up on the shelf at your local comic book store under the reprints section, like so many other comic book stores did. I've read it. They're all new stories.
Yeah.
They're set in the past mostly.
Yeah,
But also like Tom Grummett art, like it's I think Wheezy does one with Victor Bogdanov doing a Steel story.
What?
Like it's everybody.
She wrote Steel though, right?
She created Steel.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's
and
even
wrote
better.
I know. But yeah, it's an original book. It's got a lot of original stories in it. It's only original stories. If you care about that kind of thing, go check it out. I think that's it for me. But I'm also going to go back and read Ninja Turtles versus Stranger Things because I loved that series and it ended this past week, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
I think this is a 4th week. I think that's why it's like
that's why it's
weirdly
light.
kind of light, but also not because X-Men #28 is coming out. So I'll definitely be picking that up. For a second, I saw this banner up there and I was like, "Oh no, what's happening?" Okay, no, it's fine. It's just an advertisement. I don't care. That's great.
I love that the comic books are shilling for the movies. They're like, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you got to go see the Marvels," and yet the movies would never do that for the comic books.
Well, DC ones do that sometimes.
Yeah.
This is written by Jerry Duggan, art by Josh Cassara.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm here for the fall of X. Doctor Strange #9, Jed McKay and Pascal Ferry. This cover's great.
You're enjoying this book.
I am.
I know. I'm just saying. This is probably the first time since Aaron that you have read a regularly scheduled monthly Doctor Strange series that you have actually just been like, no, I read it and I liked it. Would you prefer a different artist on the book? Yeah. But like, you do like the book.
Yeah, no, I do. I do like it.
I'm just saying, that's nice.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Supergirl special #1. I might check this out. I think it's a one-shot by Mariko Tamaki.
Can you believe that they haven't tapped Tom to do another Supergirl anything?
I'm glad they haven't.
Me too. I'm just shocked.
I think it's more like, hopefully he'll be like, hey, I got another one. But like, you can't make lightning strike twice. Okay, that book is perfect.
I know.
Like, no, don't mess with perfection. Don't do a sequel. Just continuing this horror trend. I think this is a horror book. Yeah, blending modern horror with historical fact and Western lore. This is right up Scott Snyder's alley.
What?
And that's who's writing this book. Canary #1 from Dark Horse is coming out. Scott Snyder, Dan Panosian.
Yep, or Panosian.
It looks like it's an Old West horror book. It's called Canary. I'm guessing we're dealing with mines. Yes. So
in 1891, a mine collapsed into itself. Yeah.
This is a Comixology series, so if you didn't read it digitally, you could now pick it up in physical in your store. So if you were like, I don't like to read digital, now's your opportunity. They're going to be collecting the series for the first time in print. I
didn't even hear of this one. This is another one that slipped through the cracks.
I've seen this cover before, so I was like, why have I seen this cover before?
I've never seen this cover.
And then I just want to throw it out there. I will possibly pick up It's Jeff, the Jeff verse #1.
Yay.
Because as much as I like very serious things and things that make me like, question my purpose in life and the reality of the world around us and, make me think about, scary, spooky things in the dark. I also like Jeff the Shark.
Yes.
So I'm going to probably pick that up.
You'll also probably check out Marvel Meow.
I will probably check out Marvel Meow for sure. But Gerda here is on the art for.
So how could you not?
For It's Jeff. So
they're great.
It's Jeff.
It's Jeff. But we want to.
That's who Loki needs to get as part of his.
Oh my God!
His campaign.
That'd be nice.
It's just Loki and his running mate Jeff.
I'd vote for Jeff. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. Thanks for the chat for keeping the show alive. And of course, we'll see you guys next time. Check out Tiffany on youtube.com/@ComicPop Plays to watch her play Spider-Man 2 tomorrow and Wednesday. If you want to catch up, go over there now and check them out. There's a whole bunch of streams, but of course, there's more. I believe Chris is going to be doing something over on Pros and Cons. If not, check it out anyway. But we'll see you guys next week with an all episode Off the Rack. I am Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.